Hello there, welcome back to another weekly vlog from Cloud with Chris. You're with me, Chris Reddington, and here we talk about all things cloud. Now thank you for joining in this weekly vlog. We are weekly vlog number 12, so that's 3 months of doing these vlogs, and I'm absolutely loving doing it. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying providing the content to you. So, a few things to update on today. All the things that have gone on over the last week. It's been a busy week, and also what's coming up. Some updates on the Azure side, some updates on the GitHub side, and DevOps as well. There's actually quite a few blog posts and things to go through today rather than specific updates. So, let's just go ahead, switch over to the screen, and jump straight in here. So here we go. As I mentioned, the last week has been very, very busy. So all started off last Monday with weekly vlog number 11. Recapped there that last week was going to be a week full of DevOps, the completion of the GitHub Git GPG Keys series. Terraform Cloud piece came out as well. So there was a lot to talk about in last week's vlog if you haven't caught that one already. So then actually, I think there was something new that happened every single day last week. So Tuesday then I released my cloud drops on Introduction to GitHub Codespaces. So this was the second cloud drop that I had done. Really enjoyed doing this one actually. Codespaces is something I'm particularly passionate about. I think it's going to be a game changer. So it's about a 5-minute 30 video. I did say I tried to keep them under 5 minutes. But that one I just felt needed that extra 30 seconds. Talking all about what GitHub Codespaces is, the challenge you might have had already if you've dealt with that in the past, and making dev environments, and why Codespaces might be for you. So check that out if that is of interest. Wednesday then was the final part of the GPG Keys signing Git commits and using that with GitHub. I say the final. Who knows, maybe there'll be a part 5, but for now at least it's the last one I'm planning to write at the moment. So again, that's the final part of that 4-part series for now. Go ahead, check that one out if you've been following along, because that is now out as well. And then on Thursday, I was actually a speaker at the Welsh Azure user group. So I've known John Lunn for a few months now. Of course, we've been talking about all the community work that we've been doing, etc. And I came along to the Welsh Azure user group to go and give a lightning talk. So it's that session on how GitHub has really helped me with cloudwithchris.com. That hour-long session that I normally give, I condensed it into 15 minutes, mainly focusing on the GitHub Actions side of things, but focused on that one. Really had a lot of fun. Great community there. Thoroughly recommend going along if you are nearby in Wales, because I suspect I might have a few Welshies listening in here given my heritage. So definitely check those folks out there as well. And important to call out, I think it was just a great series of speakers overall. And I think we had things ranging from Veeam all the way to licensing, to VS Code, to GitHub Actions, DevSecOps, migrations in the real world. It covered the whole spectrum of different topics that you could cover there. So a really great series of talks, great friendly community. And I like the way that they run the meetups actually. I've actually shared the video with a couple of the organisers at Thames Valley just to have a look and maybe see if we can get some inspiration there as well, and how we could be doing some things there as well. So again, kudos to the Welsh Azure user group, and thanks for the very friendly, warm welcome. Then on Friday, so literally something every single day the week just gone by, was a session on deploying to Azure using Terraform Cloud. So I do a bit of scene setting in this one on what is Terraform, and no, we're not going and changing planets or anything. We're talking about the infrastructure as code platform and how it relates to Terraform Cloud. So again, I think that one's about 30 minutes long, roughly. Quite an interesting one if you've not looked at Terraform Cloud before. I talk about why I like using Terraform Cloud for some of my pet projects. I'll give you a hint, a little spoiler. A lot of it is to do with what you can do with state there. So if that's of interest, go and take a look at that one. So that was the last week. Very, very busy week, as I say. This coming week, of course, you're listening to vlog number 12 right now, so that will be out by the time you're listening to this, I guess. Then on, let's see, on Thursday, I'm going to be on the MS How To show with Mert Yetta, talking all about DevOps. So Mert was again one of those lightning talk speakers at the Welsh Azure user group as well, and I joined Mert a while ago on the MS How To show talking all about architecture. This time we're talking another passion area, DevOps, so I'm really looking forward to that one. On Wednesday, I've got a blog published, already written and ready to go, about how I'm using Git LFS for cloudwithchris.com. So this is something actually which I found quite interesting and fun to write, interesting to learn as well, because I've known about Git LFS for some time but haven't really had a need to use it. Now I have with the MP3 files. I wanted a better way of automating my end-to-end process, including the podcast files that I have. So I'm not going to spoil anything. Go and check that one out, because that was actually quite fun to solve a few different problems there with some of my GitHub action workflows, etc. And then on Friday this week, I have a guest on the show. I'm going to have Isaac Levin joining me. So some of you might know Isaac from some of the work he does in the .NET space. He's a great community advocate. I think he's done a lot of awesome things, including I think the Presence Light, I think was his work as well. So super excited to have Isaac on the show. That is going to be live. So we're going to be going live at 6 p.m. on Friday, so 6 p.m. UK time, UTC, and we're going to be talking all about accelerating .NET to Azure through GitHub Actions. So again, this theme of GitHub Actions is really coming up again and again here. So take a look at that one on Friday. That one might be of interest if you're a .NET developer or even just exploring GitHub Actions as well. So we talked about the MS How To live show coming up. On the 6th of April, then I've got the Northern Azure user group, where I've mentioned before Scott Hanselman is one of the speakers, and I'm also going to be speaking at that session as well. So I'm really excited to be doing that one, and I haven't got them listed on the site yet, but hopefully by the time this vlog goes out, I'm going to be delivering a couple of talks for Global Azure 2021 as well. So I think that it is the Friday the 16th, Friday the 17th, if I remember rightly, of April. Sorry, that would be Friday the 16th, Saturday the 17th, I should say. So I'm doing one on Friday the 16th at 6 p.m. UK time, all about Hugo, storage accounts or static websites, CDN, and I'll also be talking about Azure static websites as well. And then on the Saturday, I'll be doing my longer version of my GitHub talk, just like I'm doing at the Northern Azure user group there. So again, if you are interested in any of that, come along. It's going to be a lot of fun, and definitely check out the Global Azure piece as well. What else happened? I think it was also the Thames Valley meetup group this week as well. Wow, a lot has happened this week. We had Alan Erdley coming along, talk about security and compliance, amazing session. And just as a reminder for anyone from Azure Thames Valley who might be following me, it's not long left until the Cloud Skills Challenge is complete. Remember, you're in with a chance of winning Microsoft exam vouchers. You're also in with a chance of winning some prizes. So you'll want to go ahead and check that out, because you have an opportunity to actually win some things as well as learn. So what is a better opportunity than that? And then towards the end of April, going to be speaking to DevOps Nuts about the GitHub Actions piece as well, and how I use it to deploy my site. So again, lots of things going on at the moment. It's quite exciting these times. So yeah, go ahead, check some of that out. There's plenty of occasions where you can go and hear me talk about some of those various pieces there. So I think that covers us in terms of the Cloud with Chris content. So let's move on and focus on the Azure blog side of things. Not too much to update on this week. So there's more choices now for HPC users. The Azure HBv3 virtual machine. Azure and AMD announce a landmark in confidential computing evolution. Prevent exceeding Azure budgets with forecasted cost alerts. That one has gotten a lot of traction actually on Twitter and LinkedIn, where I've already shared those posts. So that one might be worth diving into. Do more for the national security mission with Azure. Accelerate your cloud adoption with the Start Small and Expand landing zone. Our commitment to expand Azure availability zones to more regions. And limited wow, words, limited time-free quantities offered to Azure Synapse Analytics. So I'm going to cover just a couple of those there. The first one is this one that we mentioned earlier about preventing yourself from exceeding these Azure budget thresholds that you may have set, and this idea of a forecasted cost alert. So really the idea there is getting alert proactively before you hit the threshold, saying, judging by your current run rate, we're expecting you to go over that threshold, so maybe you want to take a bit of action early. And this blog post details exactly how you can go ahead and set all of that up. A great feature, I think, a great piece of functionality there to help you manage those costs in advance. Another one then, actually written by Sarah Lean, co-authored by Thomas Maurer as well, is all about this cloud adoption framework. We've heard about it before, the enterprise landing zone, of course. And this one is all about starting small and expanding later on as you go. And they talk about some of the infrastructure as code that is available there for you to go and do that, how you can get started with that as well. So take a look at that blog post if you're kind of on your journey with that. And then the next one is, I think, again, a very, very important topic, and that's to do all about availability zones and the Azure engineering team's commitment to availability zones. And this one talks about some of the key takeaways. So I'll just surmise them here, just so anyone listening in can make sure they understand as well. So the key takeaways, by end of 2021, every country in which we operate a data center region will deliver Azure availability zones. Every new data center region we launch going forward will include Azure availability zones. Over the last 12 months, we have enabled availability zones in 5 data center regions, and this week we launched availability zones in Brazil South. We are continuing to expand zonal capabilities, and in 2021, all foundational and mainstream Azure services will be AZ enabled, and we recently launched the Azure Well-Architected Framework, a set of guiding tenets that can be used to improve the quality and resilience of a workload. So that is the high-level picture taken verbatim from the blog post here, but goes into some more depth there as well. But familiarize yourself with that, because that is going to be, I think, an important topic for everyone going forward, understanding availability zones, how you can use them in your solutions. Next up, Azure Updates. I don't think we'll go through so many of these this week in depth, but I will just read them all out again just for anyone that's listening in, just so you get a bit of a recap of what's going on in the Azure world at the moment. Azure expands PCI DSS certification, Brazil South availability zones now GA, Azure IoT Central new and updated features, February updates include device model, API dashboard and documentation improvements, general availability of media services introducing new security features, general availability of media services adding a new standby mode for live events to speed up start times for a warm state. That one I will comment on. It's quite interesting because you have this standby mode. Previously, if you wanted to be able to run quickly when this kind of going for live events, you had to have it basically spun up active, ready to go. Now you've got this almost warm standby state ready to kind of launch into that live event. It's also going to help you save cost as a result of that. So that's a great update to see. Storage Explorer version 1.18 is now generally available, and from memory, I think there were some performance gains or performance improvements as a relation to that one. Limited preview, make workloads on AMD-backed virtual machines confidential without recompiling code. I am struggling with my words today. Azure API management support for request and response validation policies has reached GA. We'll come back to that one in a moment. GA of the monitoring spend through forecasted cost alerts, which we of course mentioned a moment ago. Long-term backup retention for Azure SQL Managed Instance in public preview. Azure Monitor SQL Insights for Azure SQL in public preview, GA of dynamic data masking granular permissions for Azure SQL and Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Explorer performance updates, Service Broker Message Exchange for Azure SQL Managed Instance in public preview, machine learning services on Azure SQL Managed Instance now GA. This one we'll come back to, but App Service Managed Certificates now supports Apex domains. I think that's a great update. Azure Data Explorer Performance Engine v3 is now GA. Directory Scoped Shared Access Signatures GA, Azure Sphere OS version 21.03 is now available for evaluation, and HBv3 series VMs now generally available in East US, South Central US, and West Europe. So, diving into the Azure API management piece, effectively, there is support for request and response validation policies or additional pieces. And what they talk about here is, if there are certain API requests and responses that don't adhere to a specified schema, you no longer need an additional add-on to go and deal with that. There's some extra protection now available for you inside of the API management policies for you to go and deal with that. So things like missing required query parameters, JSON bodies that don't comply with a schema, excessive body size, query parameters that don't match a regex, or headers not specified in the API schema. So that's going to be rolled out over the next several weeks is what the update says, but I think some great updates there. And then the public preview of managed certificates for Apex domains for app service. So if you remember, with app service, you can get this ability to roll out these custom domains as part of your applications. And one of the things is you can get this certificate to go and manage that domain through app service. What you couldn't do was have a naked URL or an Apex domain, as it's known as. So, cloudwithchris.com without the www at the beginning. So just cloudwithchris.com. Now you are able to go and do that. So I think that's a great update there. And it says that each certificate will be valid for 6 months. And about a month before the certificate's expiration, app service will renew the certificate. So it's all dealt with on your behalf. So again, great update there when we're thinking all about security. So now we'll go ahead and move on to the Azure DevOps blog. So a few updates this week. One was from Jay Gordon, where there was another of these Learn Live updates. This one talking all about elasticity, what that is, how you want to deal with that in your application. A great session on that with a video, so go and check that one out. Another one of the series of on-prem to the cloud and this migration of applications, featuring Abel Wang and Steve Moraski. And this one is talking about everything as code, a topic which is very near and dear to my heart. If you haven't really thought about that concept of star as code, go ahead, check out that video because that will help you understand the concepts a bit better there. A little while ago, we talked about the fact that the Azure DevOps team had to go and remove the out-of-the-box support for public projects and their ability to use pipelines. I think they had an unlimited quota, if memory serves me right. And you now have to go through an approval process for that. Well, unfortunately, now the same thing has happened with the private projects, and the same reason, once again, is related, I believe, to misuse. And it sounds like as a result of these people, these chancellors using it for Bitcoin mining and just misusing the service. So I understand why they're doing it. Obviously, they want to protect the service. They've obviously got a business to run and they want to make sure they're providing the best for their end users. And it's a shame that, unfortunately, there are a minority of people that are causing this abuse and having to force the team to do this. So read that blog to understand, if you're creating brand new, why you don't have access to that. It does say that it shouldn't affect existing organizations, but go ahead, take a look, because I can see this obviously potentially being top of mind for some people. So go ahead and take a look at that. And then several updates from the community this week. So deploying Kubernetes applications on Azure Stack Hub, configuring your Azure DevOps organization for Azure Signup Studio Git integration, setting up CI/CD pipelines for Azure DevOps for Android, and then how to create an Azure DevOps extension. So a nice bit of variety this week. And this next one I cannot recommend anymore. This was a great Azure Friday session. Obviously, Scott Hansman is hosting, but we've got Jessica Dean in this one talking all about best practices for Azure container instances with GitHub Actions. Really great experiences there being shared, and I think a lot of great insights there. So go ahead, check out that video and that blog post as well. Now onto the GitHub side of things as we start wrapping up here. A few posts actually from GitHub this week to delve into. So number one from March the 15th, an update I really liked. I'm a big fan of Dependabot. I've been using it in Cloud with Chris and some of my other projects for some time to try and keep up with my dependencies. But one of the things it didn't do is it wasn't able to manage those private dependencies. So if I've got a NuGet package in my own Azure DevOps organization which isn't publicly available, Dependabot wasn't able to go and help me manage that and keep that up to date until now. So that is now available. There is an update for private registries and also updates from private GitHub repositories then as well. So go ahead, take a look at that because that is a great update. Git 2.31 has landed, and there are some announcements there, particularly around Git maintenance and talking about the garbage collection functionality there. So that was quite a nice, interesting piece there. And then it talks about some of the intricacies. So again, probably worth updating there and just taking a look. And just as a reminder, if you use Git LFS, there was a recent update for Git LFS, particularly for Windows users because of a vulnerability there. So go and take a look at that. An update from the GitHub team on improving large monorepo performance in GitHub. So actually GitHub themselves, I believe, say that they have a monorepo in GitHub/GitHub, and they were experiencing some failures themselves. So they wanted to go ahead and focus this as a priority because obviously it's impacting them. It's going to impact any other people who are potentially using monorepos. So they talk about some of the optimizations that they've done there to make that even better, along with some of the results. So go ahead, check that out. Then also some additional updates about how you can use things like code scanning and the code QL functionality to detect traces of Solari gates. So obviously some of these recent backdoors which have come out, and how you could potentially pick up other backdoors as well. I've said it many times, and I'm going to say it again. I think GitHub is really shining in this DevSecOps space. Things like Dependabot and those functionality improvements which are coming, Code QL and the ability to do this type of scanning, I think is only going to keep getting better and better. Definitely check this out because this is, I think more and more, you're going to start seeing people trying to inject themselves into this kind of development process because it's overlooked. So go ahead, take a look at how some of these tools maybe can help you prevent and protect against some of those potential challenges there. Maybe not one of the highest priority areas for a lot of my followers and listeners and viewers, but one that was interesting for me, I thought, was a blog post on what's up with these not open source licenses. And it talks about these types of open source licenses that aren't quite open source, and there's some restrictions on them, dual licenses, thinking of companies like Confluent, MongoDB, Redis Labs, etc., and what the impact is on developers versus cloud providers, etc. Not really a topic I'd really considered or thought about actually previously, but it was just interesting reading through it and making me think a little bit through some of those nuances. So again, if you're interested in just understanding some of that from a development perspective, check that one out. And I believe this is the last blog post that we're going to be looking at here, which is all about a follow-up from a blog post, I think it was last week or maybe the week before. I mentioned that GitHub had logged out all users out of github.com due to a rare vulnerability that they had identified. They've now actually gone ahead and detailed the steps about how they identified that change, how they investigated it, how they then made the code changes, and what they did then to go and resolve that and really dig into the detail there. So it's a really interesting root cause analysis, how they took action and how they're going to continue following on from that and improving even further. Great update. Like to see those kind of updates. So I found that particularly interesting, and I really like seeing these types of postmortems where they not just detail what the problem was, how they fixed it, but also some of the steps they went through to identify that and being able to learn from the challenges that other people have faced there. So that is it. That is it for this particular week. So let's go ahead and wrap ourselves up. So there we go. Thank you for tuning in again in this week's weekly vlog. Wow, weekly vlog number 12. Honestly, I am so pleased to have done this for 3 months now, and I think the momentum that I'm seeing over the past 3 months is great as well. My girlfriend Katie and I were taking a look through some of the analytics of the channel, looking pre-Christmas and post-Christmas at some of the, amount of viewers that I've gained, subscribers, views, etc., and the amount of videos and content that I've been releasing since. And you can see this as I'm increasing the amount of content, subscribers are gaining, and I've recently approached and even ran over 350 subscribers there. So continuing to grow ever closer towards that 500 subscriber goal towards the end of 2021. So you know what I'm going to ask. If you do enjoy this content, please do consider subscribing to the channel. 90% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed. 10% of you are, so please go ahead and listen in and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know as soon as there's new content, and like the videos so that I know which content you like, so I can make sure I prioritize that. And of course, it's not just about YouTube. I am on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and cloudwithchris.com, where you can of course listen along as you are reading the transcript there as well. So that's it for this week. I don't think it's going to be as busy this week, but never say never. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe, stay safe, stay healthy. We got all the way to the end before I started losing my words. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until next time, bye for now.